Hello all you Minecraft fans, and welcome to my attempt to survive 100 days in hardcore Minecraft. This video is inspired by Luke the Notable and his 100 Days series, so kudos to him. Alright, spawning in day 1, let's see what we can accomplish. By the looks of it, I've spawned on a beach peninsula next to a dark oak forest, which should be interesting. But of course I'm not going to waste any time. Day 1 is perhaps the most important day of this playthrough. I think this interesting rock outcropping would be a great place for a dig-in base, so I'd best get on it. By the time the sun started setting, I had just about everything, including a crafting table, furnace, double chest, even a bed. Still, my base is pretty exposed and needs some admittingly improvised walling off to make sure everything's enclosed and safe. Even though I have a bed I could sleep in, I felt the nighttime of day 1 was better spent setting up a mine, which involved some aquatic endeavoring to get started. Oh look, I'm sleeping anyway. Guess that bed looked really comfortable. Feeling reasonably comfortable on day 2 now that I have a basic setup, and was immediately reminded of what game mode I'm playing on when a creeper attempted to gank me from behind. So I decided that turning my outcropping into an actual base was probably safer for my heart than anything else. By nightfall, I think I did a pretty good job. Frame, windows, stairs, not bad. During mining at night, I broke into a lush cave, which fascinated me because I haven't really explored this cave type before. Finally finishing the house today by adding a door. As they always say, if it has a door, it's home. I also decided some chopping was in order. My wood supply is running low, and I can't let the threat of monsters spawning under the trees above my house keep me stuck downstairs. It was a long day full of chopping, and I went straight to bed with the intent of resuming the chopping in the morning. Instead of chopping, I went mining. I figured iron axes would prove far more effective than stone ones. Still, I'm without any kind of protection and don't intend to explore too much. While that iron cooked, I did some basic surveying and decided to add a second floor to my house. I haven't a clue what I'll put here yet, but I'm sure I'll think of something. I made an iron pickaxe, chest plate, and bucket. The basic tool set, I would think. At night, I explored the small lagoon I found in the caves and caught myself an axolotl. Maybe one day I'll keep one for real. Day 5, I was planning on completing the upstairs expansion when a visitor in the form of a wandering trader showed up. These guys can occasionally spawn near the player and have 6 random trades, but I'm nowhere near the point where I have emeralds lying around that I could use to trade with. Mysteriously, the trader's 2 leashed llamas, which always accompany him, were nowhere in sight. I'm not sure how, and I'm not sure why, but I found the remains of both llamas around where I think the trader spawned. I'm personally happy because that means I don't necessarily need to inflict violence in order to get the trader's leads, which are very useful items to have on hand. The rest of the day was just working on my base, more digging for the second floor, and an expansion in my mine down to a lower Y level. The rest of the night was down in the mine. Finally got that lush cave section nearly all lit up. The morning of day 6 saw the completion of digging out the second floor, but given how much land I've now cleared thanks to the earlier chopping, I figure I can do a little better than this. So begins the great terraforming project, during which many shovels and picks will be broken. My plan is to level the land immediately above my house and build my second story on that Y level, thus giving me ample access to both the ocean below and the dark oak forest above. I didn't have a set plan going into all of this, just the idea that I wanted something big and something level. I'm also going to be sleeping a lot for the next few days. It's just safer if I prevent monsters from spawning while I'm working with virtually no cover. More digging, more chopping, and more crafting stone tools. I took a hard fall while chopping down a nearby tree. More of an inconvenience than actually dangerous, but it goes to show why I need to be careful while pulling this whole project off. It also shows that my current access to food isn't great. I'm healing with rotten flesh, of all things. I'm really looking forward to what this could end up looking like. I'm sure I can build something pretty nice, but iron tools would make this a lot faster, so at night I expanded the mine again. I've just hit deep slate, which means I'm starting to get pretty deep. Diamonds begin appearing on Y level 15 and below with the new Caves and Cliffs updates. And this deep slate means that I'm almost certainly close to or at Y level 0. I just wish I didn't have to constantly deal with water while carving. Can't doubt that it's paying off though, because I just found my first diamond ore! You could tell I got really excited. It was just 1 diamond, but this is the first big step towards greatness, and I know that many more are in my future. With the iron I mined last night on day 8, I finished my set of iron armor, which is really going to add some peace of mind when it comes to monsters. Sure, a creeper explosion will still almost certainly either kill me or put me really low health, but now almost no physical attack by an overworld mob can one-shot me, which is good because in hardcore mode, monster attacks do more damage per hit compared with normal or easy difficulty. I spent most of the day working on the terraforming project and received a visit from another wandering trader. Too bad for him, I'm still without a single emerald to my name and have no interest in what he's offering. I decided today to get rid of the overhang that projects from the side of the outcropping I'm digging out. I have thought about keeping it initially, but in the end I decided it had to go. This water is henceforth Christian Sea of Scrap. More terraforming today, or at least there would have been been if a thunderstorm hadn't started, and in the name of safety, I chose to sleep through it all. Lots more terraforming and chopping, like I said, I was committed. I made a chest on the second floor to house the extra wood and dirt that clogged my inventory as I cleared land. Cutting down a ton of trees is going to guarantee at least 1 or 2 apples, but I've gone a week and a half without a proper farm, and I know I'm going to need to set something more sustainable up. Sure, 3 seeds isn't much, but when they grow, they'll give me bread and at least double my seed output. Given a couple more cycles of this, and I'll have a nice big farm up and going, mark my words. Besides that, more chopping and plundering of the natural resources near my house. I've set up a perimeter of earth that I plan on completely flattening to give myself a nice plot of space to work with. Most of today was spent determining that perimeter and carving the hillside next to the staircase out of my house. At least the rain didn't stop me as much of the time as it did last time. Oh look, more digging. What did you expect? I'd do something else with my time. By mid-afternoon, though, I'm completely done. Around 12 stacks of dirt and 1 stack of cobblestone later, but it's all clear. With everything now dug out, I can at last use my excess wood to start turning my outcropping of a house into a full-blown Minecraft home. Something I won't have to change for a good long while. House construction is now fully underway. I'm experimenting with floor height and the dimensions of the walls right now, which involves a lot of backtracking and clambering around. I've decided to have 1 level on the same plane as all of the digging I did the previous 3 days, and another level between the ground floor and the top floor. This means 3 levels in total, but I have to ensure that each one is at least 3.5 to 4 blocks high, because I can't stand spaces with tight ceilings in Minecraft. If the floating chests on level 2 are bothering you, I'm afraid you'll have to tolerate them for now. There's still a lot of work left to do. No construction this morning, I decided to go mining instead. Found a little cave, I guess, nothing interesting. I can't be sure if it's the massive amount of potential this house has or my own indecision, but I just can't seem to get this house right. I'm just doing random chores to try and build inspiration, but I'll have to wait and see if anything hits me. Day 16 saw the brilliant idea that finally solves the ceiling problem on level 2. Using dark oak slabs instead of planks will give me another half block of room above my head, which is just perfect for what I want. My chest is just bursting though, so I made another to hold all of the leftover wood I've collected since the earliest days of chopping. That made organizing the second chest so much easier. I should have done this several days earlier. It also means I can finally deal with the first of those floating chests you all have been silently cringing at for a while. The second one's gotta wait though. Those diamonds aren't going to mine themselves. More chores today. I'm still not sold on the final design of the house. Can't really say there's any other explanation for why I seem to be refusing to work on it in any capacity, be it mining, chopping, terraforming, anything to not deal with the house. I'll shape up one of these days and it'll look nice, I promise. There's still so much time left after all. More than 80 days. Well, I'm biting the bullet and finally making a large-scale farm. Apples could sustain me forever, but if I'm gonna get farther in this world, I need a better and more reliable food source. And while bread doesn't offer too terribly much, it's still better than apples because it's guaranteed and easy to get. While exploring food options, I also grabbed a stack or 2 of kelp, since I know you can cook it to make a food source. While chopping down trees on a nearby hill, I spotted a party of raiders floating along in the ocean. Not sure how or why they spawned there, but I have no intention of confronting them. To my knowledge, their only item drop is their crossbow, and even that is pretty rare. So it turns out that dry kelp is a food source, and eats faster than any other food source I know. But it also can't be eaten as a block and only restores 1 hunger point per item. That's too inefficient for me. I know I can do better. I've decided to set sail on day 19. The ocean is vast and it can contain some pretty impressive structures. I'm also on the lookout for ocean ruins, shipwrecks, even an ocean monument or 2. But the main reason I'm out here is for a village. If I can find a village, I'll have access to villager trades, which are some of the most powerful tools available to any hardcore player looking to upgrade from mid-game to endgame and beyond. Finding one off the ocean is difficult, but it isn't unheard of. But for now, any structure I see excites me. Take the shipwreck, for instance. It had some okay loot, and a buried treasure map. I know for a fact those treasure chests are packed with valuable iron, gold, emeralds, diamonds, and so much more. This treasure chest happens to be buried really close to spawn, which is really awesome. I'll have you know, however, that I don't really understand how treasure chests spawn, and a lot of unnecessary work is in my future. Treasure chests spawn below sand or gravel, but above stone, sandstone, and any other block that requires a pit. All of the digging I'm about to do, completely pointless. The next few days are going to be trying to figure out how the heck buried treasure works and mindlessly digging incorrectly to find it. So instead, I'd like to talk about my inspiration for this challenge. I haven't played Minecraft seriously in a while. My first experience with the game was Pocket Edition around 2012. Back then, the game still included the Nether reactor block, and you needed a mod just to acquire hostile mob eggs. I had a lot of fun playing back then. LAN was really easy to use, and my friends and I would play on each other's worlds. Fun times. I got Java Edition frustration around 1.9 or 1.10 and played on servers like the Hive, Mineplex, and Hypixel back when the former two servers were in their heyday. As for hardcore challenges, I started exploring them more recently, near the midway point between the release of 1.16 and 1.17. The farthest I've ever gotten on a legitimate world, hardcore or otherwise, was finding the Stronghold by using Eyes of Ender on an unrecorded hardcore playthrough. I have a slide presentation saved somewhere that records all of my hardcore playthroughs attempted around 2020, 10 in total. I'm sure there are others I just deleted out of frustration, but they all boil down to me getting bored, trying something unsafe and interesting, but paying for that decision with my life. I have a lot more incentive to stick it out and stay alive in this playthrough though, both because it's the first one I've attempted since around early 2021, and because I'm recording all of this one. Basic improvements on the mine for day 23, I made the roof one block bigger and dug just a little bit deeper. I broke into a huge lush cave and explored it in some limited detail today. I don't want to commit too much because it's really easy to get lost, but there's a lot to find in this cave. No diamonds that I saw, but I'm at the level where they should be present, and I doubt I'm too long in finding more of them. Day 24 doesn't exist. There's a couple days in this series with incomplete recordings. Either I forgot to start recording and only started it later in the day, or I just forgot entirely. Fortunately, those days are few and far between. You guys won't miss much. Starting day 25 with encounters in the forest. Beating a single skeleton, a zombie, and a spider shouldn't normally scare me, but I am in hardcore and I need to be careful. This is why I'm chopping down the forest, so nuisances like these don't stick around. I'm mostly mining today. You can see that I've reached Y level -50, which means... Yep! I've officially hit bedrock, which means I'm at the very bottom of my Minecraft world. Would you like to see why I install stairs in every mine I ever dig? Whee! On day 26, I'm setting up a long tunnel for a possible strip mine on both Y level 59, where I found bedrock, and on the cave Y level. I know strip mining isn't the most efficient way to mine now that both parts of the Caves and Cliffs update have revamped cave generation, but I'll need to actually find those caves before I can really explore them in any detail. To that end, I'll dig really long tunnels to keep everything relatively organized, but I'm not a fan of digging through deep slate with my iron pickaxe. Deep slate is twice as hard as regular stone, and thus requires twice as long to break. It doesn't change how much durability my pickaxe can handle, but I'd really prefer to find something that can break this stuff way faster, otherwise I'll be down here for hours. I really want to use my iron pickaxe as much as I can, but my iron supply right now is limited and I'd rather save it for something a bit more interesting. Case in point, there goes my pick now. Off to bed, I guess. But you better believe I'm back to mining on day 27, and boy is it going to pay off for me. I got my hands on a fat vein of 6 diamonds! You better believe those are going into a new pickaxe. Now that such a pickaxe is possible, mining is no longer an immediate concern, and I can start on another project I've had my mind on for a good while now. I can use all of this deep slate I've mined to craft deep slate walls, which I plan on using to create a safety perimeter around my house and a portion of the surrounding land. Setting up a wall would give me a significant portion of land upon which no mobs or hostile entities could spawn or easily get to me. Ever since that creeper attack on day 2, I've been on my guard whenever I leave the confines of my house, especially since I have no airlock or gate preventing something from climbing down and attacking me at any given time. A wall would finally solve that problem for good. And imagine what I could do with the space I'd have free access to. But to build this perimeter, I must first clear the land I seek to claim, and to my knowledge, there are only 2 easy ways to clear trees given my current setup. Either I chop it all down with axes, or burn it all with flint and steel. For now, I'm sticking to the former for 2 reasons. First, having access to a massive stockpile of wood would end my chopping days for a good long time once I'm done. And second, I only have 1 flint and steel I looted from that shipwreck several days ago, and I don't really want to make another one. More raiders on day 30. Little do they realize they've just interfered with my colonization effort and must therefore be executed at once. Took a break from chopping to expand my farm, but goodness knows you can't keep me from chopping forever. It looks like the dark oak forest terminates at a river or some large waterway, so my goal was to clear the trees between my house and that waterway and keep going from there. It's finally time for some walling, day 31, and boy do I have a lot to do. Despite the current position of my house, the land that I'm on still has a downward incline, which requires additional walls, so mobs don't use adjacent blocks to get on top of the wall itself. You might have noticed me using a hoe to chop down these giant red mushrooms. Little do I know that an axe is actually way faster at dealing with these, and hoes are better suited to deal with blocks found in nether forests and in the deep dark. Still, by day's end, the wall was just about complete. All I need do now is light it all up, and my perimeter of safety will have been successfully established. I don't have nearly enough torches to light up my land completely, so I'm going to be cooking charcoal. A little strange, but I'm never going to run out of wood wood, so it doesn't matter if some of it gets burned. I need to wait for it to get darker so I can see where I need to place torches. So in the meantime, I'm doing some chopping and cleaning up the landscape. It's pretty ugly, but I'm also not that powerful and have no plans to change anything, so it'll have to do. Now the night is here, which means that it's time to light everything up. I'm absolutely determined that no creatures will spawn within my wall, no matter how many torches it takes. I also completed my grand wall by setting up a perimeter on the ocean side of the compound. The start of day 33 saw me expanding my farm again. I want specific plots prepared once I get access to crops other than wheat, though for now that's all I have, so this land won't go to waste. The rest of the day was spent down in the mine. I'm looking for just about anything: coal, iron, diamonds, gold. Once you realize how much better a diamond pickaxe really is compared to any other pick, it's gonna be really hard to go back to just an iron, or even worse, stone. At least I found more diamonds today. I'll need them for an enchanting table later. At this point, what I could really use is a lava lake or extensive underground lava source, something that I could convert into obsidian and thus make a nether portal out of. Problem is, I haven't a clue if those kinds of lakes still exist given the new updates, so I'll just keep tunneling for now. Eventually, I have to find a structure or an opening or something, right? My storage has been absolutely cluttered as of late, given both my hoarding of deep slate and dark oak wood, so a storage expansion of some kind was really in order. With that done, I'm back on the open seas for more ocean exploring. It's really the best way to find some early game loot, seeing as it contains tons of structures that have chests and items I haven't gotten access to. Take, for instance, this ruined portal that I just found. I can steal this obsidian from the portal to make an enchanting table and nether portal at my convenience back at the compound. And the big gold blocks are certainly a plus. Gotta say though, my house does not look pretty when coming on from the ocean. I haven't worked on it in a long time and it's almost begging for help. My priority, however, is my new nether portal that I dug into the side of the hill on the left side of the wall. After double checking that I had everything I wanted for a foray into the nether, I excitedly traipsed through. Spawn isn't great. It looks like I'm pretty high up and in a nether wastes biome, which is arguably the least interesting of any nether biome. Hey, did you know that you can combine a boat with a chest to make a boat with a chest in it? I haven't a clue how to operate this kind of wizardry, but I know that I won't have to worry about my inventory as much when it comes to exploring the sea. Right, so if I'm going to get anywhere in the nether, I have to secure my means of getting home. So on day 35, I started working on encapsulating my nether portal with a protective layer of deep slate that will double as a base of operations in the nether. It's gonna take several stacks of the stuff to finish this box of a house, and like all of my projects, I am going to get distracted from it very easily. Speaking of distractions, it looks like I finally noticed the state of affairs in my house and have begun correcting it. I think a frame of dark oak planks with glass panes will work best for now. I can always make it look nicer later. One thing that's consistently bothered me about this house is the staircase. I really enjoy being able to travel from my compound level to ocean level in a blink, but it feels really cluttered as a single block set of stairs. I already widened it near the top, but it really needs to be widened all the way down. But I've just added the windows on the wall that I now need to tear down, and I really don't want to do that, and I just cannot right now. Maybe some mining at night will cool my head and let me think of something. I haven't much of an explanation for why everything I do seems so scatterbrained, but I'm off on a completely different mission on day 36. Way back on day 19, I stated that one of my goals of exploration was to find a village, and I'm hoping to do that here by following the coastline. Not that I'd pass up an opportunity for loot, such as this full shipwreck here, but my main objective is a village. I didn't end up finding one today, but I did find this weird set of floating sandstone. I thought it was a structure of some kind, but it doesn't look like it, just a peculiar bout of terrain generation. I headed home after nightfall. I'm not really prepared for an extended outing, and my inventory is already pretty clogged with loot. Day 37 doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure it was more boat exploring, but I don't have any footage for it, so I can't say for sure. Mostly mining day 38, but in the evening I'm setting up something special that I know will pay off well in the future. It's an animal pen, and I'm almost certain I spotted some cows during the previous 2 days of exploration, and I need their leather to upgrade my future enchanting setup. It's a modest pen, but I've got some big dreams for what I can do with it. Day 39 saw me finally find cows for the pen. Remember that birch forest on the other side of the waterway between the ocean and the dark oak forest? I just had to boat over there to find some easy livestock. Leading them in wasn't that hard either, and given the state of my wheat farm, I'm sure I'll have a full pen in no time. I mined at night, and finally found an opening to what looks like a decent-sized cave. I don't have enough torches to fully explore it, but there's a lot of potential in there. Diamonds, iron, gold. The works! Tonight's also the night I tried out the enchanted fishing rod I found while looting an ocean ruin a couple days ago. Gotta say, Lure 2 is really nice to have. I fished till the sun came up. Out on the open water again, day 40, I needed to go back to that one ruined portal I found to get enough obsidian for an enchanting table. I'm still also looking for a village, though all I found was loot from ruined portals, shipwrecks, and ocean ruins again. Not bad, but a village would be way better, but I didn't find one. During the sunset, I planned to loot another ocean ruin when a drowned with a trident broke my boat and scared the ever-living daylight out of me. Tridents deal insane amounts of damage. Just 3 would be enough to kill me, even in full iron. Naturally, I did the smart thing and ran away, but with my inventory flooded with the loot dropped by the boat's chest, I didn't actually pick up my boat and was forced to improvise during the night, which is really bad. Thankfully, I acted quickly enough that nothing else attacked me, but I don't think I'll be going near that ruin anytime soon. At least boats are considerably safe during the night. Only drowned can really get to you in them, and they don't spawn that often outside of the ocean. Found a lava pool above ground while circling towards home. That would have been interesting if I didn't already have another portal. By mid-morning of day 41, I was home. It's really nice to be back at the compound. While looting the previous day, I found another enchanted fishing rod with mending, so I combined it with my Lure 2 rod after making an anvil, and now I have a rod that replenishes itself each time I use it. Really nice. I spent the rest of the day chopping. I have a plan to build over to that birch forest on the other side of the river, and the land between must be cleared first. Hey, all of the chests are Christmas themed. I forgot that happens around this time of year. I found potatoes in a shipwreck a few days before and finally added them to the farm. I've really diversified my diet since the first 10 days, haven't I? A few more days of waiting and this farm is going to be bursting with produce. Okay, I know I've put it off for a while now, but I'm expanding the house stairwell to 2 blocks wide, which means I have to adjust my wall accordingly to make it fit nicely. I can already tell this is a massive improvement. Once that wall is finished, I'll be able to enjoy this luxury of a wide staircase for the rest of my time in this world. The second floor window is going to be a little funky, sure, but I can fix that later. Filling in this wall on the side was also something I've been meaning to do for a long time, and I'm happy that's done now. I even used stairs to add a little flair to the roof and trim on the outside of the house, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. This also gave me a chance to give those armor stands on the second floor something to wear. And finally, I think it's time I added an actual floor to this house. I've spent over 40 days on grass and stone. Surely I can do better. I really like the look of oak planks on the floor. They complement well with the dark brown of the dark oak walls and trim, and just make the place look homier. I was going to put oak planks on the second floor as well, but decided against it as it would clash with the dark oak slabs I'm using as the ceiling for the level below. Instead, I'll just add dark oak planks and extend the slabs when necessary. And goodness knows, it's finally time I dealt with that second floating chest on the wall. I can't believe I just left it there for so long without just moving it. Much better, don't you think? It also gave me an idea for better storage of en masse items I don't use often, like dirt. That'll free up room in my main storage for actually useful items, though I suspect it'll take me a bit to get used to this new state of affairs. Muscle memory, you know? The last big addition to the house was on the compound level, where I added new trim to a possible 4th story, and finished lining the floor up with the staircase extension. There's a lot of potential for this 4th story, and I think I can finally say that I've dealt with the major loose threads that have been in the back of my mind since the initial completion of the 2nd story during the first 10 days. The first big harvest of my expanded farm took place on day 44, which means I get to spend a lot of time dumping extra seeds into my composter, since they're otherwise useless to me. Then I bred some cows, killed some cows, and organized my chests. Cows can be bred about every 5 minutes, so while I waited I took some time to fish. That's about all I did. Breed cows and fished all day. It's been a good 10 days since I last entered the Nether. I'd say it's probably time for another expedition to see what I can find. To continue progressing in Minecraft, I need to find a Nether fortress, which is the only place blazes can spawn. Killing a blaze occasionally results in a blaze rod, which can be turned into blaze powder and either used as an essential fuel for potions or as one of the 2 ingredients required to make Eyes of Ender, which are used to both find the stronghold and activate the end portal. I started to build a deep slate enclosure to protect myself and my portal, but didn't finish it, so that's now a priority on my agenda. It'll take a lot of deep slate, but I've got plenty thanks to my strip mining, so I don't think I'm in danger of running out. By the end of day 45, it was all done. Sure, mobs can still spawn inside on occasion, but now I have a safe space to run to in case of danger. My next objective is to build a staircase down inside of my nether base to lava level. Getting down to lava level will accomplish two things for me regarding my progress in this world. First, having access to lava will grant me lava I can just scoop up in buckets to use as fuel in my furnaces, but also to tame striders and use them as transportation once I acquire a saddle. I also figured bridging across lava will make it easier for me to spot and get over to nether fortresses, even if that means I'll be sacrificing the safety afforded by tunneling. Now, hold on, did you really think I would dig out a staircase without adding stairs of any kind? Do you have any idea how much hunger is lost through all of these one-block jumps? How much time is wasted tapping spacebar all the way up? This is my 100 days. We use staircases no matter the distance. Well, there's the breakthrough I was hoping for. It doesn't go down as much as I would have liked, but this should be a safe Y level to bridge without inviting too much trouble. Of course, I'll have to add stairs all the way down first. Day 47, I'm experimenting with a campfire to cook the raw beef I get each time I end the life of a cow. It's not very fast, but at least it doesn't use up any fuel. I added the first couple bookcases to my enchanting setup today. It'll take a bit more time, but I know I'll soon max it out. Today also marks the first day of nether bridging. If I take my time and keep the sneak key eternally depressed, I should be fine. Just in case, I'm going to add some safety features. These deep slate slabs should act as fine guardrails and give me ample visibility while I'm out on the bridge. I've had some bad experiences in the past trying to build bridges through lava, so I'm going to play it safe and just maneuver around them. Where am I going? Just a general direction, really. Or at least I would if the ghasts would let me. Apparently, I haven't slept in a while because I was accosted by phantoms last night. A quick sleep and some sunlight should solve that problem. I need more deep slate for slabs for my bridges, so it's back to mining for me. And my diamond pickaxe is looking a little low on durability. Either I need to fix it up somehow, or I need to get an enchantment that will fix it for me, aka mending. Other than occasional returns to the surface to breed my cows, it was all just deep slate mining. Day 49, I did some more nether bridging. I'm now using slabs to make a half block gap above my head. Now mobs can't threaten me from above, and I can use them to accelerate my run if I need to escape a sticky situation. I won't extend the bridge itself too far without also extending this roof and guardrails, but with the system, I'm feeling safe. Or at least as safe as I can while over a massive lake of lava with no fire resistance to speak of. Alright, so far so good. Oh, what's that in front of me? Is that? Yes! It is! Another fortress! I knew I would eventually find one, but discovering one this easily? I'll be honest, in all of my prior playthroughs of Minecraft, I've only ever found nether fortresses either by using commands, waiting for someone else to find one if the world was multiplayer, or by using a tool that uses your seed to output coordinates to nearby fortresses. Finding one of my own volition, without help or tools, is pretty dang special. It really feels like I found something the way vanilla Minecraft intended it to be played, and my ability to finally tie into that playstyle is just so rewarding to me. Now that that nether fortress is in my sight, I cannot be distracted from my goal of linking my bridge to it. I just don't think I'm ready to actually explore it yet. But let's not get ahead of ourselves and just focus on the bridge. One quick resupply at the compound later, and I'm back on the bridge. I ran out of netherrack, and I don't care at all for consistency, so now the whole bridge is being thrown together using mostly slabs. But finally, on day 50 of all days, I have linked my bridge to the nether fortress, and have thus fulfilled the first big objective of Minecraft since I made the nether portal in the first place. Gotta say that feels good. So like I said before, I'm not really in a position to go after the nether fortress or anything inside of it. I first want to upgrade my gear and obtain some kind of backup plan should I fall in lava or get trapped by a blaze or wither skeleton. The last hardcore playthrough I did where I got this far, the one that I mentioned earlier where I found a stronghold, ended when I was cornered by several blazes and didn't have an emergency exit available. I don't intend on ever getting stuck in a similar situation, so I'm going to wait until I'm way more powerful before I start on that fortress. That means maxing out my enchanting table. So today is a day full of chores. Farming, breeding, slaughtering, chopping, and crafting all day long. Other than getting powerful enchantments on my armor, the last thing I want is a potion of fire resistance. The nether is the embodiment of heat, of course. However, to craft such a potion, I either need resources exclusive to nether fortresses, nether wart and blaze powder specifically, or I can attempt to attain one through piglin bartering. The chances are pretty slim per barter, but if I give a piglin a gold ingot, there's a chance they'll give me a potion of fire resistance in exchange. My first few barters didn't give me anything too special. Soul, soil, and spectral arrows those are okay, I guess. However, when I cornered one piglin close to my deep slate hub and attempted to dig a pit for him to barter in, I accidentally bopped him and he proceeded to bop me back hard. I'm not sure how much damage on average a piglin does with a gold sword, but 2 hits knocked me down to 2 hearts. That's 16 points of damage in 2 hits against me wearing a full set of armor, all of it iron except the boots. That's absolutely insane. And now I'm on the verge of panicking while I desperately run from what is most certainly certain death. I ran around the base and made a pillar of gravel tall enough to avoid further melee damage before eating some cooked steak to restore my health. I'm pretty sure on second look that I escaped the piglin's aggro range relatively easily, but getting put to a mere 4 hit points left me sweating and scared. After that experience, I think it's safe to say that I will not be attempting this again anytime soon. I spent the rest of the day finishing the safety features on my fortress bridge and catching my breath in the overworld. This is the closest I've come to death yet on this playthrough, and while I'm glad it didn't end there, it certainly didn't help my aversion to the Nether and all the dangers it poses. Still working to catch my breath on day 53, I decided to spend some time chopping down more trees. After all this time, I still haven't made my way over to the river separating me from the birch forest, so I decided to use some levels to put unbreaking on an iron axe and have at it on some dark oak. During the late evening, I installed some classy window panes to the 3rd story trim. Ooh, that looks nice. I then fished while letting some more glass cook and installed more panes right as the sun came up. Day 54, I have a plan to ensure safety when entering the upper layers of this nether fortress. By digging into one of the nether brick pillars and using ladders, I can create an entry by climbing inside the pillar and digging up from there. The ladders work perfectly, but as soon as I reached the top, I was accosted by a blaze trying to snipe me. This is exactly what I was worried about when I first started trying to figure this fortress out. So like all of my problems, I'm going to ignore it until I can think of a better way around it. Hey, my house could always use some more love. I'm figuring out how I want the trim to interact with the staircase and the entrance to the level itself. I've decided on a fairly generous gap that easily lets me enter the top level of the house and the staircase separately, but still gives some pizzazz to that side of the house. Now I'll add a roof, and the basic structure will officially have been completed. Maybe one day I'll add a 4th story, but this will do quite nicely for now. I'm also just about done with the enchanting table. Given the size of my cow population, I think 1 or 2 good rounds of breeding ought to do the trick. I'm a little scared given the current state of my diamond pickaxe. I don't want it to break, so I'm going to hang it in an item frame until I can acquire enough levels to enchant it. The rest of the day was chopping, and the rest of the night was fishing. I feel obliged to apologize, at least in part, regarding the condition of the footage you're viewing. I admit I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so watching back and seeing this admittingly subpar quality does make me wince. Though to be perfectly frank, this entire playthrough is being recorded on a laptop, very much not designed for this kind of work. I'm honestly impressed things have held up as well as they have. Now, I'm not working with much, but I'm happy. Here's to future improvement, right? More chores today. Like I said, I was really close to a maxed enchanting setup, and my diamond pick needs some love. At night, I decided to enter the nether fortress and explore. I just can't stay away from this thing, can I? Not that it went well. I'm right next to an exposed blaze spawner, both close to my bridge and on the only path that leads towards the rest of the fortress. I was hoping at least for nether wart, but realized how infested this place is with mobs and decided to just leave. I'm back in the nether for more combat. This time I'm going to try to use cobblestone to build a wall to protect myself from blazes while I make my way over to the near spawner. Fortunately, the one blaze I chose to attack dropped a rod, so now I can make potions should I end up with a brewing stand somehow. More chopping and fishing during the night. I doubt at this point anyone needs to see more of me doing either of those tasks. At this point, I have almost everything Minecraft's early game can offer, and while I know I could just survive easily in my compound, I have aspirations to beat the game and beyond on this playthrough. The best possible resource I could find at this point is a village. Villager trades would grant me access to tools, weapons, items, and resources that would otherwise take me ages to naturally acquire. Even more importantly, villagers offer endless supplies of these resources, and are used in or help supply so many different machines and farms. Point is, if I want to push my game forward in a big way, I have to find one, and relatively soon at that. Once again, I'm going to try the ocean approach, but stumbled across a pair of ocean monuments instead. I'll keep those in mind for later. For now, the village village is my only objective. I found an area that looked pretty promising and also had a beach shipwreck, which is just cool to find. I took as much as I could. Even after climbing to the very top of the tallest hill I could see, I didn't spot a village, and I can't leave my boat behind since it houses most of my loot so far. Somehow I forgot how I got from ocean to the shipwreck and proceeded to get lost in my boat in the middle of nowhere. So I just stayed in my boat until sunrise and walked overland following my compass until I reached the ocean again. I'm following my compass to get home while still looking for a village. At this point, I'm pretty far out comparatively speaking. While on my journey, I found a mangrove swamp, which is a new biome introduced in 1.19. I haven't a clue what mangrove roots or mud are, and unfortunately just don't have the inventory space or time to fully explore. But I've got the footage, I'm sure I can come back later in depth. The rest of the day was woefully uneventful. I didn't find any structures to loot, just followed my compass home and slept until morning. Alright, no more distractions, no more games, no nothing. I am going to find this village one way or another. This time I'll use my boat in the opposite direction I've been going in to load some new chunks and see what I can find. I pretty quickly found a really small jungle, which is cool, but not really worth my time right now. Ocean, birch forest, plains, acacia plains, more plains again. Now it's raining as well. Well, the pillager outpost is certainly new and potentially useful, though I doubt the loot is terribly interesting. Also, where are the pillagers? I hear them, but I haven't seen any yet. The chest said mostly blah, but it did have a goat's horn, which I've never used before and was quite surprised to see. I was in the middle of getting the coordinates recorded when the pillagers decided enough was enough and rushed me in dramatic fashion, forcing me to perform an equally dramatic escape. I slept in the open to skip the night. Pillagers are one thing, creepers or something else. I know this looks awkward, but I wasn't recording for the first part of day 61 and ended up finding the village I've been looking for this whole time. It's actually quite expansive. Several houses, a church, a weaponsmith, armor, farmer, and lots of opportunities for additional jobs. I also ended up leaving my boat behind during the flight from the pillager outpost to the new village, so I'll have to make a new one. I took a picture of the coordinates and was going to use my compass to get home, a process that took the rest of the day and would have taken the night as well if I hadn't stumbled across a second village directly in my path home. I mean, I'm not going to pass up the opportunity for some shut-eye in a friendly place, but how did I not know this was here? Where was this 40 days ago? Upon further examination, this village has a lot of the same resources as the first, but it's definitely closer. I used my boat ride home, and it took me less than 2 minutes. I know generally where it is, and it looks like it was just beyond the birch forest that I've been watching in the distance and almost exploring, but each time getting distracted. It's exciting, but also really frustrating to see that it's been so close this entire time. I thus decided to take out my frustration on the forest by lighting a good portion of it on fire. Previously, I was loath to do so because it was a waste of wood and could easily spread out of control, but now I don't care either way. I need the trees gone, and chopping all of them down is going to take way too long, so this is my solution. Gotta say, it was pretty satisfying to see it all go up in flames. During the night, I reorganized all of my chests to separate the valuables from the bulk, and then used torches to light up the newly cleared area by my spectacular arson. Also, I somehow forgot to light up the roof of my third story and witnessed a short skeleton duel on my premises. I did end up breaking that misplaced glass pane. Waiting to get silk touch just for that pane didn't seem worth it anymore. Right, so while I want to get over to that village and begin exploiting them for every resource they possess, I first want an overland route to the village that is easy and relatively safe to follow. To that end, I first needed to survey the land that leads to the village, which wouldn't be that hard if it weren't for the existence of forests en masse in just about every direction towards the village. I burned down trees, chopped down giant mushrooms, and really just made everything towards the river nice and open. Tomorrow I'll start working on a birch bridge crossing the river that will move over the hill and beyond. The last thing of note I did was build a whole new section of farmland at the compound. Villagers need food to breed, and if I'm going to start industrializing a whole village, I'm going to need a lot of food. Okay, so day 64 doesn't exist, but it's not because I wasn't recording. I originally was recording these in long stretches, but by around day 22, I started doing individual day recordings. It's more individual clips to filter through overall, but it's made organizing and going through all all of my footage way easier to keep track of. However, I never accounted for the staggering that took place after I switched, and as a result, by my count, I have one day-night cycle that was unaccounted for. The day number is correct by all intents and purposes, but just to match it with the in-game timer, I'm actually going to skip a day. So everything you've been watching is day 65 now, not day 64. Speaking of day 65, I found by crossing the river, traversing the birch forest beyond, and jumping over a hill into the plains, I could easily reach the village I'd found a couple days ago. Now I'm going to build a road from the edge of the dark oak forest, crossing the river, and traversing all the previously named landmarks to connect my base with the village. That means clearing trees, which I will of course do the quick and easy way, by burning everything to the ground. When the sun went down, I hijacked a villager's bed to skip the night. Don't complain, peasant, it's for your own good. Operation Birch Bridge was initiated today, starting not at my base, but at the village. It's at a considerably higher elevation than I suspected, and I think it will be less resource intensive to build down instead of up. I plan to build the road through the hill and then down to the river, where it will become a bridge and then terminate at the dark oak clearing I burned earlier. Fortunately, the hill wasn't too chunky, and the tunnel was completed by the end of day 66. I slept in my own bed next to the village to set a checkpoint for myself so I won't have to run home in the rain to resupply. No rain on day 67, which means that Operation Birch Bridge shall proceed with little interruption. At this point, I'll use my compass to adjust the direction of the bridge towards spawn, and from there build down the hill. It's going to take some finagling to make everything work, but you gotta trust me when I say this road is going to more than make its money's worth. Still, I can't burn everything down at once. I'll use the birch trees I cut down to clear the path as further material for my bridge. The rest of the day was just spent clearing and building, and I'll be doing this for several more days at least. Only bridge construction for day 68, but I don't have the footage of anything more than me sleeping. Day 69 is finally going to see a short reprieve to bridge construction. With this, the overland route between my base and the village is complete. The road is by no means safe, but it is finished. Now I'm going to be spending time installing stairs up the road for ease of access. I believe I've already made my point when it comes to the usefulness of stairs, and I will not have objections to their use in any capacity. So there. More safety features day 70. Those stairs won't add themselves. I'm a little concerned with accidentally falling off the bridge given its current width. So to add both safety and some decorative flair, I'll place oak planks on the sides of the bridge to widen the road in general. Construction momentarily ceased, however, when a fire broke out about midway up. Turns out I'm building a wooden bridge a bit too close to a lava source block, which is probably the paramount definition of fire hazard in Minecraft. I just used my bucket to move the lava to a safe distance and rebuilt what was burned. It's a good thing I caught it as early as I did. Day 71 saw resolution of Operation Birch Bridge. It isn't perfect, and it's missing safety features, but it accomplishes everything that I need it to be for now. Thing is, I've only got about 30 days to begin exploiting these villagers for everything they own. That means I'll need to work fast if I want to accomplish anything exceptional by the end of this challenge. I began my reign of terror by locking as many villagers as I could inside of their houses. That way they're both safe from hostile mobs and can't move around to inconvenience me on a whim. By nightfall, most everyone was trapped, but I've got a lot more to do to start taking advantage of this village's potential. Now that most of the villagers are trapped safely inside of their houses, I can work on making the village safe enough that profiteering can begin. To that effect, I'm going to build a wall around about a third of the village as a whole. The elevation difference between some of these buildings and my birch road is completely unworkable. The wall will be identical to the one around my main compound and will serve the same purpose of providing an area where mobs can't get in and also can't spawn, thus keeping my villagers placated and productive. The walling continued entirely through day 73, but by the end the perimeter was complete. I've encompassed about 7 buildings in total, meaning I definitely have at least 2 villagers safe inside. Given what I'm planning, that's all I'm going to need. I spent all night ensuring everything was lit up and that no monsters could spawn. Villagers trade using emeralds and are upgraded after performing a certain number of trades. My goal is to use easy villagers like Fletchers and farmers to earn lots of emeralds by selling sticks and food to them. I started with a Fletcher in the house closest to the birch bridge, but he wasn't cooperating and I couldn't make him work. So I spent the rest of the time filling in holes and clearing an area where I planned to make into a farm off the off chance that a farmer would be easier to manage. Day 75 was just a lot more tinkering. This village has a lot of differences in elevation that don't have easy fixes. For now, I'm focusing on the area that'll become my mass farm and the slope below it. Once those are in order, I'll be set to make some good money. And I would have worked through the night, too, if it weren't for some meddling skeletons. There's a whole lot to do to fix this village up, but maybe I should have gone without spending a whole another day on landscaping. You know, by day 77, I think even I'm getting a little tired of shoveling dirt around for little else but cosmetic gain. I spent more than 30 days trying to find this dang place, yet I thought I'd be more interested in exploitation by now. And exploitation is right what I plan on doing. I'm moving more dirt around all night, but this time it's for something more important and special. Can you guess what it is? I'm noticing a slight problem regarding the Birch Bridge. Descents while sprint jumping tend to incur trivial but pestering amounts of fall damage. I'll have to fix that at some point. Still, I'm attempting to install a sheep pen at the main compound today as part of the mystery project I started yesterday, but having the pen next to the cows where it is just isn't going to work. So I'm going to move the sheep down to where I cleared the dark oak forest. It wasn't even that hard. Those leads make moving animals around a breeze. Now if I shave this sheep with shears I just crafted, I'll have access to infinite wool, which I'll need for my secret project. Of course, I doubt anyone at this point doesn't know what I'm building here. A large enclosed room that needs a lot of wool to function, 2 entrances designed to only allow me passage. You've guessed correctly. This is a villager breeder, or room specifically designed to encourage and propagate the conditions villagers need to reproduce. Villagers need 3 things: adequate space, plenty of beds, and assurance of safety in order to breed. And this building should provide that once I've filled it with beds. Sure, it looks about as pleasant as a tent, but as long as it functions, I'll be happy. To make it work, I first need to get 2 villagers into the breeder. I've got the first one since I made his house into the breeder, but getting the second one in is going to be tricky. Villagers can't be hooked with leads, and their pathing is relatively inconsistent. I know that boats and minecarts can emplace villagers and allow for their transportation, but I don't have access to rail systems, so boats will have to do. You have to understand, I'm quite new to all of this, so figuring out how to transport these guys is going to take quite a bit of time. My first idea was to row a boat up a man-made river to the correct elevation, but it turns out boats can't travel vertically, regardless of water, so I'll need to think of something else. My next villager trapping plan was figured out by the start of day 80, but it will require a more extensive setup than I thought. The only way I know of to change the elevation of a boat is to use a piston to vertically increase the height of the block the boat is placed on. So I crafted a piston and used it to raise the boat until I reached the piston's max limit of 8 blocks. I then moved the piston up the stack and continued raising the boat until it was level with the trail of blocks that lead to the villager breeder. The rest of the night was spent moving the pair of villagers I captured from the impromptu watchtower they were raised on into the breeder, which thankfully wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. It's a shame I only got a couple minutes of recording. The whole effort played out surprisingly well. Now that I have a sufficient number of villagers in the breeder, I just need to make a quick resupply to the compound to grab food for them. It'll take a little time for them to get schmoovin', but I know for a fact that it works. There's already a child. Now things can really get along. I just need to put a whole bunch of beds in the breeder, and soon the villagers will reproduce to fill those beds. I'm essentially unstoppable! However, this operation has caused me to neglect my actual money-making methods. I have almost nothing I can currently sell to gain emeralds, so now I'm finally setting up a farm I cleared land for a while ago. Given a couple farmers, this should be nice and profitable, I hope. Everything is operating smoothly day 82. At this point, I just need to wait for the villagers to breed and my crops to grow, so in the meantime, I fish until the sun rises. Finally got the Fletcher working day 83. Now I can sell him sticks for emeralds. I proceeded to spend the whole day going back and forth from chopping trees to making sticks to selling sticks to chopping again. By the end of the day, I made 30 emeralds. Now imagine how much I could do with every other villager buying stuff from me. Day 84 was another day of chores and waiting for villager trades to reset and for crops to grow. When returning from my compound to the village, I decided to eat a pufferfish and realized the nature of that error when I realized that eating a pufferfish inflicts poison 4, which lasts for 50 seconds and puts you to half a heart the whole time. It won't kill you, but one misstep off my bridge would cause a lethal amount of fall damage. That was the scary part, knowing that one mistake in that instant would erase literal days of progress. So it was a relief when I managed to heal up off of mutton and steak and got back to the village just before nightfall. On day 85, I was enlightened by the librarian villager and learned that they buy paper and books en masse for quite a few emeralds. This I've got to take advantage of. I also learned that fishermen and toolsmith, weaponsmith, and armorer villagers all buy coal for one of their base trades, so I descended into the mines during the night to try and find some in the cave I discovered the last time I was in the mine. Quite a while ago, actually. I didn't end up finding much, but more iron is always a plus. More chopping and trading with the Fletcher day 86. I'm getting quite good at this. I always seem to run out of sticks before he does, but then again, he demands nearly half a stack of sticks per emerald. One day I'll try to fix that. I bought some water buckets from the fishermen today and used them to boost my village crop farm, but in all honesty, this is going much slower than I thought it would. Surely there's a better way to do this. The villager breeder is doing very well for itself. There are plenty of villagers in here now. More than I need, honestly. I'll figure something out for them. In the meantime, I noticed I'm pretty close to level 30, and that could mean some seriously good enchantments. I figured an easy way to earn XP and get some useful resources would be to kill zombie piglins in the nether. Aggroing one will get all others nearby to come to you, and with this setup in my nether hub, I should be in no danger of getting bopped unless I step too close. I did choose to break my mending golden sword here. That sword got me through a lot in the early days, but now I believe it's more than outlived its usefulness. I then fished for the remaining XP to get to level 30. First thing I did day 88 was craft a brand new diamond pickaxe and get a level 30 enchantment on it using my levels. Drumroll, please. Efficiency 4? Not bad, just expected a little more. I returned my trusty first diamond pick to its frame and raced off to the village, but didn't really do anything. I returned to the nether to see if I could repeat my luck with yesterday's work, but the zombie piglin population has remained diminished. I then entered the nearby Crimson Forest and got surprised by a hoglin, which did a bit more damage than I expected. This is why I hate the nether. I returned to the village at night to sleep. I'm running out of quick and easy ways to make money, and I'm getting a little frustrated at these recent close calls. Sold more sticks all day, 89. This is the easiest method of making money, and I have no other immediate plans. Give me a break. I'm doing my best. Then I fished all night. I have nothing better to do. Welp, day 90. I've only got 10 days left until I complete this challenge. Let's see what I can come up with. I'd love to crown this first playthrough with some defining achievement. One last great step on the road to beating Minecraft. I think I'd like to try to get enchanted diamond armor, and my best chance to do that is to upgrade the armorer to master level. That's why I'm chopping more trees. I need the sticks to sell to the Fletcher. At night, I went mining for coal, but I'm very clearly doing it wrong. Coal rarely spawns this close to bedrock. Still, this efficiency 4 pickaxe, this is what I've needed for Deep Slate, let me tell you. The stuff is easier to break than stone, and I am loving it! The pressure's on for that diamond armor, but dealing with the villager breeder is a little much for me right now. That's why I'm clearing land next to the breeder day 91. I plan to make dedicated huts for each master level villager that I can buy from here while using the villager breeder to produce more villagers that I can actually work with. Realistically, there are only a couple villager types that can be bred en masse that have good trades for profiteering. Farmers, cartographers, and shepherds are the best examples I know of. You'll never need more than one toolsmith or weaponsmith, and butchers and leather workers are downright useless in the long game. Still, I'd like one of each master level villager in this village, and that's what I'm doing here. At first I was going to trap each villager in place, but then I decided that pairing them with a bed and building it out of Deep Slate fit the more autocratic theme I was looking to produce. By the sunrise, I had finished walling off this new area and just needed wool for beds and the resources for each job block. Bit of a detour day 92. I'm going to expand to the sheep pen to make wool easier and more viable as a resource for emeralds. Getting them in there took some finessing, but with that done, all I need to do is breed them in detail and I'll have unlimited wool. You know, it's been nearly 70 whole days since I first tried to find that buried treasure chest that was really close to my house. Remember that? Well, now I'm determined to tie up loose ends, and that treasure is just asking to be found. At this point, I've come to learn how the chests spawn, and why all of my previous digging was for nothing, so I've come back to start figuring it all out anew. For whatever reason, however, I left the actual map at home, and so I didn't accomplish anything in that regard today. Mark my words, however, that chest will be found. Back on Treasure Beach today, this time with a much better idea of where to dig. I figure I just need to dig up the sand around the massive hole I made, and eventually I'll find it. It did take quite a bit of digging, but I found that chest! You know I was happy with that. Gold, emeralds, TNT, prismarine, and a heart of the sea. What a bounty! By the time I carted it home, it was just about night, and I decided a good old sleep in my bed was in order. Day 94, I'm back in the village setting up more of the autocratic living spaces for my soon-to-be master-level villagers. Getting them in place is going to take a lot of maneuvering, but I promise I catch on pretty quick. I definitely should not be using a boat, though. That just encourages more villagers to come over, which is not what I want. I decided to use oak stairs to make it look like an actual villager house, but I wasn't sold on the design, and my meddling has broken the villager breeder. It's fine for now, but I'm really gonna have to fix it if I end up going on to 200 days. But by the end of the day, the armorer is in place, and the house's design is just about finalized. One down, plenty more to go. More villager huts going up day 95. This time I'm working on the Fletcher and the farmer. I found that if you place their job block adjacent to a wall, you can place a wall to trap them in place when they move inside the hut to interact with the block. There's a lot more work to do, but now that I have the general idea down, I should be able to throw these huts together pretty dang fast. Also, not sure how, but villagers are escaping the wall. I think this is because I left the breeder wide open. I don't have the time to fix it, sadly. Just know it pains me as much as it pains you. Not much was accomplished day 96. A lot of running to and fro, gathering more supplies for villager trays and huts. I'm no closer to diamond armor than I started, and the pressure is really starting to mount. It may not look like it to you, but it was all I could think about. That may have been why I started taking bigger risks, such as jumping down to a very unsafe part of the village just to get more water for my farm. Not once, but twice. I'm just breaking more stuff day 97. At least now the shepherd hut is getting getting finished. I'm very sporadic these last couple days. I have a lot I want to prioritize, but in the end I just have no clear idea of what I want. The fisherman is not in his hut day 98, but at this point I'm exhausted just getting all of these villagers in place. Night was the most active part of the day. I tended to the crops, shaved and bred the sheep, fished, killed some endermen and zombies, and just played Minecraft, you know? It's not about achievement hunting or about being flashy and exciting. It's just about playing the game and having fun. Day 99, I'm tinkering with the wall and trying to figure out why my villagers keep escaping. I just want my fisherman back inside the wall. It might have taken all day, but at this point everything's kinda where it needs to be. I guess tomorrow I can just relax and showcase everything I've done. Holy cow, it's day 100! I have nothing prepared! What am I supposed to do? By day 100, I really wanted diamond armor, and since I knew I couldn't get it from the armor, I decided to try and mine the diamonds I needed to get them, but I got lost in the cave, and then my game wouldn't load, and what? I successfully survived 100 days in the hardest Minecraft difficulty. And I think that even though I wasn't able to get diamond armor for day 100, I should be proud of what I accomplished. This was something I decided I wanted to do on the fly, and I'm really happy I tried this. So as we watch the sun set on this last day, let's be happy with what we've got done, with what we made work, and appreciate the kind of game that Minecraft is. I've learned a lot while playing this challenge, and I highly recommend anyone out there who wants to try it should give it a go. You just need a computer, a copy of Minecraft, some recording and editing software, and the drive to last this long. Huge thanks to Luke the Notable and a lot of other creators for inspiring me to try this out. I stepped out of my comfort zone, tried something new, and had a lot of fun. It's a big world out there, and I have so much more that I want to do. Thanks all of you for watching, and enough of you say hi. I'll try to make it to 200 days next.